viewers from wherever you're watching us from. You're watching QTV, the Gambia's first private TV station, and we are broadcasting live from our studios here on Kairaba Avenue. My name is Aliou Cisse. Well, this week, we host probably one of the most talked about local government leaders in the Gambia. I mean, since assuming office as chairman of the Brikama Area Council, YANKUBA DARBOE has become both a symbol of reform for his supporters and a target of criticism for his opponents. His tenure has been marked by allegations of corruption within the council, the suspension of senior officials and staff, growing revenue collection, of course, ambitious world development programs, disputes with the central government, controversies surrounding the Operation Clear the Roads, and intense political exchanges with President Barrow and members of his administration. Supporters say he inherited a struggling council and transformed it into one of the country's strongest local authorities. Critics argue that serious questions still remain about service delivery, waste management, and the politicization of the local governance. Tonight, the chairman will help us answer some of the questions, of course, discuss the record, the controversies, the achievements, and the future of West Coast Region. Chairman, thank you so much for coming on the State of Affairs program. It's been over 2 years I've been following you on the program, and finally you have agreed to come. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much for having me. Indeed, it's been a very hectic 2 years for us too. Yeah. And that's probably one of the reasons why you've not been able to host us. But nevertheless, we are here today.
I know you say Aliou is very stubborn. He's always posted to have me on this program. But like I said, I mean, 2 years into your tenure, I mean, what do you consider your single biggest achievement and your biggest disappointment?
I think the single biggest achievement would be the fact that we were able to fight corruption and then be able to put BAC on its feet where it is not completely dependent on loans and overdrafts to sustain its sustenance, to where it is now, I would say, it's able to stand on its feet and able to deliver some bit of services to the people of West Coast. That is the single biggest achievement I think we've achieved or registered. And this biggest disappointment, I would say, the lack of support from central government. Instead of supporting us over the last 3 years, it's been a battle for their support. It's been a battle against us rather than to support us. That's the biggest disappointment.
So if residents of West Coast were to grade your performance today, what grade do you believe you deserved and why?
I think it depends on out of how many, out of what percentage? Out of 10? Yeah. I think depending on maybe about 6, 7, okay. Because I believe we still have much to do. There's a lot that we need to do, but we've done a lot. We've achieved a lot as well. We've been able to maximize the revenue of the council. And then we are able to register some development in almost every ward of our region, and that's a big achievement of its own. We've been able to provide scholarships to so many students in the region. So those are things that we have achieved within the last 3 years. So I think those are things that would resonate with the people, and I believe the people would appreciate it too. And if they are to grade us, they will give us much higher score than that. But I would say we still have a lot to achieve, especially in terms of waste collection. We still have much to do on that one. So I would still say maybe 6, 7.
And talking about revenue increase from approximately 67 million to
240 million
under your administration.
Yes.
Quite incredible, huh?
Indeed. It was a big milestone, a feat which could not have been registered without hard work and dedication and a real determination to ensure that we are able to get our council out of the woods.
You came into office promising to fight corruption. You just touched on that. Have you won that battle?
I would say maybe not 100% yet, but around maybe 70, 75%. We've made a tremendous achievement on that front. But you see, the fight against corruption has to be a daily thing. Even today, we were talking about our waste collection. That's one of the areas that we have now, or we are detecting a lot of revenue suppression happening.
Oh, really?
And that is somewhere where we are trying to see how best we combat that. Because the people going around with the vehicles we noticed that sometimes they would go on the routes that are given or assigned to them, and then they would have their own private collections where they would go and collect the money.
Chairman, how do you do this?
we get information. A lot of it depends on the people. You know, to tell you the truth, corruption is something you cannot fight as an institution on your own without the support of the people. You need the people to support you on it. So the people always report it because they have the confidence that the person they're reporting this to has the zeal to fight it. If they don't have that confidence that you have the zeal to fight it, then everybody just ignore it. But the people of West Coast believe that the person that is there is talking about fighting corruption on a daily basis, and if we see anything that is suspicious, it is incumbent on us to report it to him, to assist him in detecting that and fighting it. So we get in that information a lot from a lot of people. Like, for example, New Yundum, we got we assign it as a sort of like a waste collection point. So we invite people to dump their waste there, and then on a weekly basis we come with the big trucks and then we try to clear it. Now, what happened is we have a collection guy there, and this collection guy there, for some reason, the money that he's been presenting to us on a weekly basis, the VDC members of New Yundum realized that he bought a vehicle of recent, and when they realized that, they were like, where is he getting that money from? And then they started investigating, and they were like, okay, hold on here. This guy is supposed to be having a lot of money. So they contacted us to find out how much is the guy actually reporting on a weekly basis. And when we told them that, they were like, no, this guy is supposed to be making a lot more than that. And we said, you know what? Since you guys detected it, why don't you put someone there, and then we start monitoring what he is doing. And that helped us to understand that the amount we should be getting from there is far more than the amount that he has been reported.
So from this experience, will you agree with your friend, the president, when he said corruption is as old as mankind and one cannot fight it entirely?
No, you know, you can fight it entirely. Countries have done it and succeeded in it. The West have done it so much. What it is it has to be a continuous battle. See what I mean? You don't just have to say that I'm going to fight it and win it tomorrow and that's the end of it. No. You can win it today and tomorrow people will want to slide back to it. So you've got to be ready to fight it every day. In China, they're killing people. But every day people are still doing it and they're killing them. So if they don't stop, you don't stop. That's how you fight it. But you don't say, if you think of it like a football game, that you have to go into the game and win the game and that's the end of it, you will never be able to fight corruption. You've got to be ready to fight it and sustain that fight in order to be able to eliminate it.
When you came in office, you came with the electric broom. Mm-hmm. First thing you did was the suspension of numerous staff members over corruption allegations. What has been the final outcome of those investigations?
So some of them, the reason why not much action had been taken is because we ourselves are deprived of so many powers that we should be having. So we've got to report it to what they call the Local Government Service Commission. And they treat everything with the lack of seriousness that I think they should be treating it with. And as a result of that, people just literally get scot-free with other things. They've moved some people, but someone that you caught red-handed stealing millions is not somebody that you should be transferring to another region. What they've done instead, they moved some people to Banjul, other people to Mansa Konko, and some other people to other places. That is not the way you fight corruption. You've got to set example, you deter others from it. But that deterrence factor has been our number one problem, you know, because even if we catch people red-handed, we have to go through this very difficult process of reporting them to what you call Local Government Service Commission, inviting us to go and explain, inviting them to come and explain, and then what are they going to, at the end of the day, they give them maybe 1 month suspension or just a tap on the wrist. That is not how you fight corruption. This has been the biggest challenge. So in order to
why was this the case?
Because those people don't work within the environment that we are in. Some of them are working for other companies. They only get to sit once in a while to determine the fate of not just our council, but so many other councils. So the whole system for the local governments need to be looked at. I believe the way it was intended before was that you're going to have these local government service commissions are going to be locally based in the councils. So when the chairman and the council's establishment committee reports the matter, that committee is within the locality, and they will be able to act. So they act like the HR unit of the council itself. But somewhere down the line, they centralize everything to the office of the Ministry of Local Government. That makes it very difficult for the councils now. So you send your problem, Banjul sends their problem, KMC sends their problem, and we all have, it's like a queue, we have to wait for them to decide what will be the fate of the people that we are reporting. So for me, they're not taking corruption seriously.
So did you experience any resistance when you took over? I know Gambians sometimes are mostly resistant to change. They want to maintain the status quo because that's what favors them. Did you experience that as well?
Yes, we did. Massive one, in fact. We were a council that went for like 3 months without salaries. We decided that we are not going, that was a fight.
As big as BSc?
As big as BSc, we said we are not going to work. We're not going to sign any document unless and until they remove the then CEO that we had and finance director. And that was October. Then everything was on a standstill between us and the ministry and the Local Government Service Commission, because they want to impose those people on us simply because they did not want us to succeed. And the best strategy is put the people they're not comfortable with to be their impediments. So if you do that, then they're not going to be able to register anything. So for us to resist that, we also went on protest and said, you know what, you remove them or there's no movement.
So was that avoidable? I mean, that feud with the former CEO who is now moved to another council?
It would have been avoidable. It would have been very easy because we caught them red-handed. They have been stealing money from pilfering funds of public funds from the council. And then that council was not functioning. You know what I mean? When we came in, the first problem we had was we say, you need to give us the account. We need to have access to the accounts. They said we shouldn't. And we said, no. They said, I'm the accounting officer. I should deal with the accounts. You have no say in the accounts. And we're like, well, hold on here. We are the approving officers of these accounts. Because the Local Government Finance and Audit Act made it very clear that you cannot withdraw a dalasi from a council, any of council's accounts, without the approval of council. See what I mean? So that means council has to have a framework in which they are able to do that approval for any withdrawal from their account.
Highest decision making.
Exactly, but that was not happening. Instead, what was happening is the CEOs were doing the approvals, they were doing the authorizations without the knowledge of any members of the council. So everything was at the mercy of the CEO. If the CEO wants, he can just sign a check for 1 million for himself. The council will not even be aware of it. He does what he wills.
Has that changed now?
It changed. We changed that because we brought in thresholds, and the thresholds we said from certain amount to that amount, you need the approval of the chairman. And when we started that, we started seeing our accounts yielding up and then getting more money, saving, and then the deficit started falling, and then we started registering surplus in our accounts.
One thing that people have really commended you is like you said, I mean, the reported remarkable increase in revenue collection.
Yes.
What exactly changed?
So a few things changed.
From 64 million to over 244 million.
So
what was going on?
So a few things changed. So one is that of the pilfering of the money. So when the money comes now, instead of it's like if you're having a sieve, if you put water on it, it will percolate, it will go down. But if you close all the holes there, then the money doesn't go down. So when the money comes, it's retained, it doesn't sink. And that's the way we've done it. So we said we need to have access to all the accounts. That was a battle, even with the banks, to give us access. And when we said access, it wasn't access for us to be able to withdraw money, but we need to be able to see or to get alerts of what transactions are happening in our accounts. Very important, because if we don't know what is happening in our accounts, then we are at the mercy of whoever is able to withdraw. And the law said it is the CEO, Director of Finance, and Director of Admin in the absence of any of those two, who are the signatories to the account. So those three people literally, if at any point they are good friends, we are finished, because they can withdraw all the money and go with it. But the only way we can be able to stop that is if we make it our business to know what is happening in our accounts, so that we can be able to stop it by either calling the banks and say, hey, so you've got to deal with the banks. Some of the banks would say, no, because you are not a signatory, we cannot deal with you. And you're like, hold on here. This is in the name of our council. We are the council members. You need to look at the local government. You have to literally educate the bank managers to get to that understanding that actually, even though these three people are signatories to these accounts, the accounts are not in their names. The accounts are in the name of the people of West Coast. And we are the representative of those people.
So like I said, still on the revenue, can you just explain to our viewers where the additional revenue is coming from?
So,
because this is a big jump, huh?
Yes.
From 67 to 244. One will be asking then, where is the additional revenue coming from?
No, the revenue was all the time there. It didn't fall from the sky. It has always been there. What was happening is like if I am a collector, I'm given a zone, I can decide what I want to do with that zone. So what we have done is we took the council from the mercy of the collectors, because then the collectors are the ones that do the assessment. At the same time, they do the collection. So the collector, take an example. When we came in, we are told that Gunjur had only 16 shops. A town as big as Gunjur had only 16 shops. So literally, the collector is telling you there is only 16 shops in Gunjur, and then maybe in Sifo you have like 10 shops. So he is willing to only collect and submit 10 and 16 from Gunjur. But when you go to Gunjur, it's almost about 100 shops there. You go to the Gunjur beach side, how many stalls are there? It's so many. So we were like, so the first thing we did is we said to the councillors, okay, the collector cannot know Sifo better than the councillor from Sifo. So let's go through the data they have, and then we look at what data we have, or what data you have about your own village. That was the starting point. And then we realized that councillors cannot do this data collection because they have got a lot of other things to do. So we decided to hire some people who are not part of the council. We brought them in and we gave them assignments and said, we want you to go to Gunjur. You need to tell us how many shops are there. Each of these shops, find out the name of the person, his telephone number, where the shop is located, get us all that information.
Wow.
So by the time the collectors realize, we know the field better than them. So what we've done is, like 2024, 2025, we give them a booklet. So we tell you, okay, your zone is Brikama Nema. Brikama Nema has 60-something compounds. Each of these compounds, their value property, they're supposed to be paying 2,000. We calculate that for you and said, this is how much you're supposed to be collecting from the value property. This is how many shops are there. By the time of our assessment, these shops are doing this amount of money, so their annual license is supposed to be this number of 10,000, 5,000, 2,000, and then that's what we have. If you go and change it, we will send people back there to go and assess after you.
So, I mean, what percentage of this collected revenue actually goes maybe directly into development projects?
So about, when we are doing budget, we have to do 70% for development, and 40% for what you call for recurrence. You see what I mean? Okay. So, but you would find that sometimes it depends on, because we normally would budget, because we are over ambitious. So what we budget and what we normally collect tend to differ year in, year out. So like this year, we said our budget is about 260 something million. So that we are saying last year, we made a big leap from 155 to 240. So we are of the view that we could even do 300 million this year. So what if we don't get that amount of money? So it means that if you're budgeted to 260, your 40% for recordings will be big, and your 60% for development will also be very massive. So at the end of the day, if you're not able to, if you end up only collecting 240, you still have about 20 million shortfall in your budget. So that would normally come out of development. So you would end up realizing that what you spend on recurrent might even be more than what you spend on development.
Yeah, because I've seen that, I mean, you distributed approximately 28 million.
Yes.
So what development?
Yes. So
how has it really impacted? From 500,000 to 1 million. When I heard it, I was like, isn't chairman over ambitious as far as this is concerned?
yes. So the one
is this something he'll be able to sustain?
Yes, I think we should be able to sustain it, because when you look at it, what we spend on, let's say, recurrence.
It's not just you, maybe someone coming after you.
I think it should be. Okay. I think it should be. It depends on what business, whether that person would make it his business to make sure that he's able to maximize the revenue. If he doesn't go on to depend on the system, but dictates what happened in the system, then obviously he's going, because he's the boss. He's the one that the people elected to go and then be in charge of their council for them. He shouldn't come and be a second fiddle to anybody. And that's why I always tell people, you've got to be the boss to be in charge of your company. If you're not the boss and you surrender that to someone else, then you are at the mercy of that person. So you've got to be the boss. You've got to step in and say, hey, that's what we want. We want 28 million for our people at the end of, let's say, at the beginning of the year. So we need to get that money and we give it to them.
So how do you ensure that this, ward development fund being given to councillors are actually put
into good use?
Into good use.
Yes, so we
And which project are you most proud of when you look at all that have been implemented? Because we have seen we have seen scenarios where people are given constituency development
funds and then but exactly.
Yeah,
but with ours, we try to avoid that. So we've developed mechanisms that enable us to monitor these things. That's why you have not been getting a lot of complaints. We have about 28 words. Yeah. We haven't been getting a lot of complaints from any of these words as to what is happening to their monies, because they know what is happening to their monies. For example, okay, so we have 3 tiers of supervision. We have councillors, your own peer councillors called a development committee. These are your peers. They are councillors like you. And they've been elected by people. They're given the money and they're doing development at their own words. They're the first people that will go to your ward to look at the work that you're doing. So one of the things we try to avoid is what happened in Banjul. You give the money to the MP, he builds it in his own house compound. And then even if he vacates the position, it remains in the compound. We don't want to do that. So the councillors, the first thing they do is whether whatever this project that you are doing with your people is happening, is for the benefit of the people. It's not for the benefit of you, your uncle or your granny or whatever family relative that you have. So they look at that. Where is the positioning or the location of the thing or the project that you are establishing? And then they will assess on that. Secondly, second group is planning. Their role is to make sure whatever material is being used is of quality. It's not of a low quality where you cut deals and other things. The third one is audit. They want to make sure whatever money is given, the date the money is withdrawn from your account, it is used for something and then all of whatever monies are used, it is all retired. That's what the internal audit would do. So this way, it informs us as to whether you should be entitled to receive the next payment. If you fail to deliver, if you do things in the way they're not supposed to be, what you end up having is the following year, you're not going to go back with anything to your people.
So which development project are you most proud of when you look at all that they have done in their different worlds?
So I am very proud of I would say this would be a market set. And then, it's a lot of development that have happened in my region since we came to council. But a market set that was built in Jambanjeli by Honorable Boto Bojang, that one was very, very, very beautiful, and he built it out of the 500,000 that was given to him, and he built it, and it's a standard market set for the people. The people were really, really happy, and I was really happy to inaugurate it as well.
Do they submit proposal to the council to say this is what I want to bring to my ward, and then the council will debate it?
No.
Okay.
No, we don't do that.
We don't do that.
What we do is we are like a decentralized council. BAC, we are very big. So what we've done is, the way we focus the council is, council mobilize the resources, and then we give the words, the money, for them to determine what is their own priority needs. You understand? If we were to bring that to the council, remember, we have urban, peri-urban, and peri-rural areas. Peri-rural areas, their priority needs is something that urban areas, their main concern is waste management. You ask a councillor from the rural area to determine what should be given to that one, and he's talking about waste management, he wouldn't understand. He would think, why are we giving them money for them to just spend it on waste management when we are having issues of water, which is livelihood.
And that's why I am asking whether after getting these funds or before getting these funds, they will come with a proposal and say, okay, council, I want to take a borehole to this particular community. And then perhaps the council can debate and say, no, we don't think that's a priority. Why don't you do it this way? No, or do you just allow the councillor to decide and say, okay, give me the money, this is what I want to do, and that's the another?
No, we allow because councillors, they head wards. Okay. So the wards have what they call ward development committees. Each of these ward development committees are made up of VDC chairmen and secretaries. So some of the wards would have maybe 13 or 10 villages. Each of these villages would have their village development committee. Those village development committees will sit in as a ward, and they will determine the priority needs of the ward. Which village should take priority? So for example, a place like Lameng ward, because you have villages like Buffalo to Makumbaya, and then Kerewan and other ones would say, you know what, if you give this money, if we are to determine, Lameng would always get it, and the rest of us will be marginalized. And they said, you know what, when we get the money, you give us 250, they get 250, they get it depends on how that ward determines how they're going to spend that money. So we give that discretion.
What will you say to communities that are still complaining of inadequate services?
What sort of committees are?
Yeah, communities that are still complaining that perhaps we haven't benefited anything from the council yet.
No,
what's your message to them?
Not communities. Communities that are, we have not heard that from any of the communities. What happened is communities want more money because they feel like the 1 million is not enough for them. They want like 5 million or 10 million, you know what I mean? But we don't have that. We can only provide what we can. But this way, in this way, we are able to register development literally everywhere in the West Coast region. You see what I mean? And it is very important that is sustained, because there are villages that didn't have water for so many years, until from 2023 to now that they are also benefiting from water. You go to the Fonies, you have women are much more engaged in gardening. For many years, they've been struggling to water their plants during the dry season. And that has changed a lot because they've invested in gardening, market sets, and other places. They are helping with youth empowerment. That is fencing football fields. Some are buying jerseys for football teams. These are priority for the wards because every year they're doing something. Some they did electricity expansion. Go to a place like Tintinto in the Burfoot ward. When they got the 500,000, they sat as a ward and they said, look, we've got challenges within Burfoot and the surroundings, but Tintinto have not had electricity for so many years. Why don't we spend the money, do the electricity expansion so the people there can have electricity? And they benefit from that. Other people have done the same thing.
And I from that, the council under your leadership has also invested in waste collection, equipment, of course, vehicles. Yet people still complain, that there's a problem as far as waste collection is concerned.
Because the vehicles are not enough. They're definitely not enough. But the vehicles that we had cost us $101 million. We cannot suddenly pay all of that in 1 year. So we've been given, thanks to ESPAS, we've been given a 3 years period to pay it. Each year we have to pay about 34 million. So we are doing that. So next year would be the final year. When we pay next year, we can go for another consignment. And that can give us, because this time around we got a bulldozer, a shovel, and then 2 dumper trucks and other ones. Next year, what we want is after we clear this debt, we want to get a grader, a compactor, so we can do a lot of road rehabilitation works, which some people are even investing their road development funds on. What we want is to make sure that, before, people will come to the council and ask, what have you done with our money? Now it is the council that is asking the words, what have you done with our money?
So was the president wrong when he criticized your council for the poor management of West in West Coast region?
Yeah, he was very wrong. He's never right about us. He's never right about us. He's very, very wrong. Today, we are providing about, I would say 50–60% of our waste collection. We're providing that. Especially for the first time, we are providing waste collection and most households in the region. Previously, we weren't even able to do that. The vehicles we inherited were not trucks. They were just, these are mini trucks. They were just what somebody would describe as gele-geles. Those were not fit for purpose, and they get stuck in the mud every rainy season. So we know what we inherited. We didn't have any vehicle when we came in there. We were just given a council with so many problems, with no machinery to assist us to mitigate the challenges that we inherited. Now,
any good thing that you have inherited from the former chairman?
No good thing. There was nothing good about it. Maybe the vehicle that the chairman gave me, which was a good vehicle, that was the chairman's vehicle. And then maybe the office, maybe that's it. Apart from that, there wasn't anything that we inherited from that council. We didn't have the vehicles for waste collection. The vehicles that we had were very small. They only take about 5 kg. Compared to the ones we have now, they take 20 tons. These other ones were like just 5 tons. So we didn't, literally, it's not like I'm criticizing them. We inherited the council that was almost about 15 million in debt. That wasn't anything good about that. We were struggling to pay salaries when we came in.
In the first 3 months.
In the first 3 months, we were struggling with everything.
So, I mean, you've repeatedly claimed that the central government has withheld, development subventions. What evidence actually support this claim?
No, the Local Government Act says the development budget of council should be subvented by the central government by 25%. So if we said our development budget is 160 million, the central government is supposed to give us 25% of that. But the central government is only giving us, when we came in the first 2 years, we were getting only 2 million. 2 million. Is that subvention enough? $2 million. That doesn't even pay our salaries.
So how much is spending?
How much is what?
What's the gap?
The gap is huge. It's massive. 28 million we spend on, let's say, road development. We spend 33 million on waste collection materials. We then spend 16 or 10 million on scholarships. That is the development budget. We then spend on other projects that we do, the capital projects we do. We do counterpart contribution. We built 3 markets with Casa Gambia. We had to pay counterpart contribution of about 3 million plus. So you add all of that together, we spend about almost 100 million. 25% of that, that's 25 million, is supposed to be coming. If you give us 1 million or 2 million, how many millions are you short of?
Quite a lot. But has politics in any way affected, the cooperation between your council and the central government?
Big time. Politics did. If I was MPP, we wouldn't be having all these problems that we were having with them. But again, if I was MPP as well, I doubt very much if I would be able to do much development as I am doing now. So, but if, say...
But they said you are not doing much because you are not NPP, chairman.
If the UDP government was there, I would be doing far, far better than what I am doing at the moment, because I will be getting my subvention and I will also be getting some other support from the central government. At the moment, I'm not getting anything from them. Even the monies that they're supposed... Remember, when we came in, even their government rates, they refused to pay them. They didn't pay it for 2023. They refused to pay it in 2024. They only paid last year.
And how much was that?
That was about 14 or 16 million, around that.
So have you ever met, the government officials or the central government to resolve these issues?
Have we ever met them?
Yeah.
Countless times.
So, you know what, let's
Countless
bygone with bygone.
No, countless times.
Yeah, it's a different chairman, YANKUBA calling
Hamad Ba invited me when he came in as minister. Okay. I met with him, And then we always, CEOs would go there, meet with them. We ourselves through Galga will try to push it. Galga President Mohamed Sise is pushing it on a daily basis for these things, but he's not making any headway. He even tried so hard to see the president. It was difficult. Now,
he is a chairman under the NPP.
yes,
This will have been much
on
more
this
easier
issue,
for him.
on this issue, on Galga issue, it's very difficult. I don't know for whatever reason, but it's not been possible. But now we've made a bit of progress over the last, I would say last year, when the president was on the people or the nationwide tour. The MPP councillors that we have that are working with us took it upon themselves to raise this issue with the president and to raise it with the minister. And they've been pushing it because for them, this is not, politics shouldn't come in between. They've seen this as a development issue and it is impacting or affecting them or impacting them adversely because they want to be able to register development for their people. And that's the main reason why they sought for that office, because they want to be able to register development. If the funding is not coming, if central government is fighting us and doing a whole lot of things that they can do, it will make it difficult for them to be able to register, to be able to achieve that goal or objective that they have, which entice them or motivate them to enter into politics in the first place. So
let's look politics and UDP. Just a few months before the much anticipated, election. What's the stand of the party as we speak, as far as unity is concerned? You once spoke about division. How divided is the party today?
We are very much united now. We are not divided at all. We are very much united. UDP is very much united now.
But you once said, the party is divided.
No, we were divided because we had Talib and the crew in the midst and they were creating a whole lot of issues there. So that was the division then. But when they left on their own accord, we have been able to come together as a family, and we are still the same family under the leadership of the party leader, lawyer A&M Soni Usainu Dapo, and then everything has been going back. Everything has been normalized to the way it used to be in the UTP that we used to know.
Is it that Talib was the problem, or one will say Chairman Darboe is just so obsessed?
He was the problem. He was the problem.
Talib. One will say, UDP is not contested against Talib. They are contested against Barrow. So why are you so obsessed with Talib?
No, I'm not obsessed about him. I am somebody who tells the truth. And then I told the party what the problem is. And then down the line, people have seen what I was saying, that this guy was just building his own structure within our structure. And the only way that structure is going to survive or to succeed, it would be at the detriment of our structure. And that's what I told them. And that's exactly what they've now seen. When the structure couldn't succeed within the UDP, it emerged, it went out, and then it is now building itself on its own out there. If they had done that from the outset, we have no qualms. We have no reason to complain about it.
You've argued that, any opposition alliance should be led by the UDP.
Yes.
Why should smaller parties or smaller opposition parties accept your disposition?
Because they are small. The issue is about size. They are small. This is politics. Numbers matters. It is the numbers that gain you the ticket to the State House. You cannot come with literally. Some of these people, let's be serious. If we say mobilize 1,000 people, they would struggle to mobilize even 500 people. You cannot then say you are equal to a party that which if you are to be on the ticket, that party is going to bring 238,000 or even more. You see what I mean? That is the party that defeated MPP, the ruling party in the West Coast region by a huge margin. I got 77,000 plus. The MPP were almost about 50,000 plus. So that's a big party. That's not a small party. If you're talking about an alliance or a coalition and you really want to make it the government, and then you look at that party, there is nothing that they are missing. They have the caliber of people whom you know. You see UDP now is probably one of the parties whom if you say let's go into government tomorrow, they will be able to get all their ministers within their midst. Other parties will have to call us to say, can you give us some people to become ministers?
So with this mindset, do you think there is any chance of forming a strong coalition against the incumbent?
I think we will have a coalition, and then that coalition will be a UDP-led coalition. But that might be different from the coalition setup that we are seeing at the moment. Because I don't think, if I am to be honest to myself and to the viewers and everyone watching us, I don't think UDP will ever be able to have a coalition with SFL. It's not possible. SFL made his position clear. Our position is very clear.
How about UMC?
His position is he doesn't want coronation. He said he will not accept coronation. And to us, coronation is what we want. We want our party leader to be coronated. He's the leader of our party. We are the biggest party. So we said, you have to coronate him. He said, that's not going to happen. So I cannot see the divergence is huge, and it will be very difficult to merge it. So I don't think that there's a possibility between a United Democratic Party coalition with SFR. It can happen, but I don't think
what lessons has the UDP learned in 2021 heading into 2026 elections?
So we learned that MPP, they steal elections, and we shouldn't allow them to steal again.
What evidence do you have that they stole elections?
We took the evidence to the court, a whole bunch of it.
With huge margin? I mean, they double what the UDP got.
Yeah, but
so how could they steal all those votes?
We gave them the evidence. We had small villages where you have only 100 and something compounds, and they having almost about 2,000 votes.
What happened to your agents? I mean, I think all the parties had their agents in all these polling stations. So how come your agents were there and they allowed that to happen?
Some of our agents were...
Isn't this just a mere excuse that you're trying to take?
No, it wasn't. It's not a mere excuse. We've put up a huge a legal challenge against the election results of 2021. If it was just a mere suspicion or a mere allegation, we wouldn't have taken that far. But we put everything together, and you know, the case wasn't determined on the substance, it was determined on technicalities. If it had gone to the substance stage, people would have seen the evidence. But even after that, we were confident enough to share that evidence with everybody, to see what we have seen. People being registered after the registration hours or official registration hours, people being registered, God knows what sort of documentation they presented, because we were not there. It happened in unofficial hours, so we were never at those ones.
And now you've had the president said, I mean, he has promised the people of Brikama that he's going to build the biggest market if they vote you out in the next elections. And of course, with all the roads projects we are seeing around, I mean, access to electricity, don't you think that's giving the incumbent more chance to easily win in December?
In where? In Brikama?
Not just Brikama, but across the country.
But the president promised Brikama with a free Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is costing the people of Brikama far more than the market issue. The market, we are addressing that. But Wi-Fi, you know how much they spend on the internet? It's a huge lot of money. If they had a free Wi-Fi, they would be saving a lot of money. But he promised them of that, and they still haven't seen that. So for many people in Brikama, they're treating it with a pinch of salt because they know that it is hardly going to be realized.
What's your key message to supporters of the UDP who are still doubting about UDP's chances of winning this election and perhaps considering maybe shifting to UMC or another party?
No. This year, UDP is definitely going to win. That's what I believe. And I want everyone to have that confidence and that belief. But you know, UDP performs well when they're a bit skeptical. When they're overconfident, they become complacent.
Will you accept defeat?
Which one?
Will you accept defeat?
When we are defeated?
Yeah.
Yes, we will accept defeat if we are defeated. But if we're not defeated, we will not accept defeat. But we have to be defeated. And it has to be very clear that we are defeated.
Chairman, do you intend to seek another term?
As chairman of Brikama,
I
haven't made up my mind about that. It all depends on how we perform in the presidential in December. That's what I would say.
So what condition do you want BAC to be when you eventually leave office?
I want to be able to hand over to BAC a surplus. And then I've already set a lot of precedent for my successor. I have given him an opportunity to continue to register and sustain the projects that we've done in the whole region. That is by annually providing this World Development Fund to the whole region. And then annually supporting the poor and the less fortunate with regards to supporting their children to gain education. You know, that is very, very important. And then to continue with the waste management project, to acquire more vehicles so that they can be able to ramp up that service delivery of waste collection from where we are now, I would say about 50, 60, to get it to about 100%, where we would be able to not only collect at household level for, say, once every 2 weeks to once every day or every week. I believe we can do that. and then they should be able to do that. But I want to be able to pass that to the person. So I am passing to the person accounts that are very healthy. I'm going to pass on to him a council that has a huge revenue base and a council that is a lot more motivated to register development and so many other ways. If he takes a detour and then finds himself in another mess, I think the people of West Coast will be very quick to hold that person accountable.
One of the key things that many have hailed to is the issue of the scholarships. But critics are questioning, the transparency of the selection process. What's your response?
So, you know...
I have seen someone who said, all these packages is going to UDP supporters.
No, but you know, the way...
How do you identify who benefit from the scholarships?
The way it is done is that UDP, we have only about 14 councillors there. The rest of the other councillors
are from...
Exactly.
Okay.
The rest of the other councillors are all from the other parties. So each of these councillors, each of the wards are given a certain number of scholarship slots. You see what I mean? Or forms. And they will go within their own ward and give it to the people that are in need of it.
Oh, okay. It's not asked if the chairman is the one who sits in office.
No. If the chairman is the one that gives it to everybody, then maybe you can say the chairman would be biased and give it to UDP. No. But the MPP councillor would have his 6 application forms, which he goes with to his ward and then identify the people that needs it and give it to them. And we have how many MPP now? We've got about 2 MPPs. We have about 6 yes to Fabakari, yes to APRC, yes to coalition, and then about 4 or 5 no to alliance MPPs. In that way, every ward benefits from the scholarship package. It is not only chairman and the rest of the other people. And after that one, there are scholarship applications that are received by the chairman's office. These forms are given to a committee called the Education Committee. Again, you have the chairman of that committee is Mohamed Lamin Sanyang from Wasadu. He is APRC Fabakar S2 Alliance councillor. He sits there. They determine out of that lot the people who are going to be able to, who they're going to award it to.
How do you find, working with certain councillors who are very outspoken? Sonko Gambia, Babukar Siddiq. When you sit and see them on social media, they're always fighting. They're always,
They're outspoken, but they're also hardworking. But
is there any point where you have to call them quarter deck and say, you know what, guys, tune down?
No, sometimes they call me to quarter deck.
Oh, okay.
I call them to quarter deck.
Okay.
You know, sometimes I would write something, they'll be like, no, you shouldn't have written that one. You should have just calmed down. I'm like, no, you don't understand. I am someone who doesn't allow narratives to stick. I always like to debunk them. So, but if you don't want me to interact with the people, I'm a politician. You've got to allow me to also make my flows, learn from them, and then develop myself and become a much better leader. But you cannot be a leader and then be shy of making flows, making mistakes. You've got to make mistakes, learn from them.
Tell us one mistake that you have made, Chairman, and you still regret, finally.
A mistake that I have made?
Yes, and you sit down and said, I think I erred. I should have done better in that.
I doubt very much. I must have done.
Yes.
Maybe entrusting some people, I don't know. Mistakes that I've made. There are some people that we appointed to certain positions, and then we've realized that they are also as corrupt as the very people that we got rid of. So we were like, no, that's a big mistake, and we shouldn't have appointed such people. So, but in leadership, you are bound to encounter that. And it's a matter of what do you do when you are confronted with such kind of situation. Do you let it slide or do you take action? And we take action. We always do.
Thank you so much. Chairman of the Brikama Area Council, YANKUBA DARBOE. It was a pleasure having you on the program finally. Thank you so much for coming. I'm quite grateful. It's not easy to get you out of your house. To come all the way to Kairaba Avenue to have this interview with me. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Ali.
Well, viewers, with that, we bring an end to this week's edition of your weekly State of Affairs program. Do join us next week. Until then, bye-bye from me and the entire team.